Niner Empire. Adjust your headphones as you cross the Golden Gate or navigate Highway 101 towards Santa Clara, because the Bay Area's morning fog today isn't just covering the Bay. It's also obscuring the sanity of some sports analysts. Grab your sourdough, your red and gold jacket, and step with me into the Levi's Stadium War Room. What we're about to do isn't just read a news report. It's to deliver a masterclass in business administration applied to American football. The National Football League's rumor mill has an almost pathological obsession with assembling stars of the same caliber on the same team, completely ignoring the financial physics of the salary cap. Today's article, penned by reporter Eric Anderson, dangles a colossal name of Maxx Crosby in front of San Francisco 49ers fans. But fortunately for us, it leverages data from beat reporter David Lombardi. And it's precisely into Lombardi's numbers that we will dive, dissect, and destroy any flicker of illusion that the Raiders' number 98 will wear red and gold in this 2026 season. Let's lay the cards on the table and observe the chessboard that John Lynch has brilliantly set up in recent weeks. David Lombardi's tweet was a masterpiece of data journalism. He juxtaposed a 49ers reconstruction philosophy against the delusion of a blockbuster trade. On one side of the scale, we have Maxx Crosby, alone, a single player who, according to Over the Cap, carries an absurd and mammoth cap hit of $35.79 million against the 2026 salary cap. On the other side of the scale, what did the San Francisco 49ers accomplish with $33.3 million? Pay close attention to Santa Clara's shopping list. They brought in Osa Odigizwa for the interior defensive line. They signed future Hall of Famer wide receiver Mike Evans. They acquired cornerback Nate Hobbs to bolster the secondary. They added Christian Kirk to be the explosive escape valve in Kyle Shanahan's offense. They secured offensive line depth with tackles Brett Toth and Vidarian Lowe. And as a bonus, they shored up special teams with punter Corliss Whiteman. Did you process that math, Niner gang? For $2.5 million less than Maxx Crosby alone would cost, our front office signed 7 players, 7 direct rotational pieces, and absolute starters. The San Francisco 49ers didn't go to market to buy a diamond necklace for a wounded neck. They went to market by the bricks, the cement, the rebar, and the mortar to rebuild the very foundations of the entire house. When Bryce Huff-Bazar in early retirement caught everyone by surprise last week, widespread panic hit the fan base. Who will play opposite Nick Bosa? The instinctive reaction of the video game fan is to open the trade simulator and try to acquire the best available player, regardless of cost. But in the corporate world of the NFL, where every poorly spent penny means one less player in pass coverage in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl, John Lynch's response was surgical. He looked at the team's deficiencies and decided to pulverize the risk. And speaking of risk, Commander, we need to activate the red emergency sirens for the most terrifying detail of this entire report. A detail the text treats almost as a footnote. The collapse of the Maxx Crosby trade to the Baltimore Ravens. The article casually mentions that Crosby was the biggest name on the market after the deal with the Ravens fell apart due to a physical. Let's stop everything right now. In the cruel jargon of the league, failing a physical during a mega trade operation involving 2 first-round picks is not a setback. It's the equivalent of finding termites in the foundation of a billion-dollar mansion before signing the deed. The Baltimore Ravens, one of the most serious, pragmatic, and defensively obstinate franchises in the entire NFL, had the pen in hand to send 2 first-round picks to Las Vegas. Baltimore's doctors examined Maxx Crosby's body, looked at the MRIs, knocked on general manager Eric DeCosta's door and said, "Cancel the bank transfer. This body won't hold up." Do you honestly believe with absolute sincerity that the San Francisco 49ers, the franchise that carries the greatest medical trauma of the modern NFL era, will ignore a radioactive warning of that magnitude? 49ers fans still bear deep scars from the D. Ford era. We spent a second-round pick and gave an $85 million contract to an elite edge rusher who couldn't get off the training table due to chronic back pain. We dealt with Javon Kinlaw's disintegrating knee for years on end. We are currently monitoring the excruciating recovery of our own Nick Bosa's 3rd torn ACL. The medical department in Santa Clara already resembles a field hospital. John Lynch would never, in any parallel universe, approved surrendering premium draft picks and sacrificing $35 million in cap space for a player who just failed a physical with another elite team. Maxx Crosby's market value didn't just drop. It plummeted into the zone of high-risk distressed assets. But let's delve a little deeper into this financial audit, because the pain in the pocket doesn't stop at the failed medical exam. The National Football League imposes draconian spending limits, and our clock is ticking against the wall. We are in March 2026. Do you know what that means in the chronology of the empire built by Kyle Shanahan? It means that the Golden Boy, the last player selected in the 2022 draft, Mr. Irrelevant who became the savior of the nation, Brock Purdy, is officially in the extension window of his rookie contract. We have spent the last 4 years living the greatest financial windfall in American sports history, having a Super Bowl caliber starting quarterback earning less than $1 million a year. That gravy train is over. Family, Brock Purdy will sit at the negotiating table, and the floor for that conversation is $50 to $60 million annually. When you have a check of that magnitude about to be signed and cashed against your future balance sheet, you cannot simply pile gigantic contracts onto the defensive line. We already paid Nick Bosa as the most expensive defender in history. We already restructured Fred Warner's contract. We cannot emulate the Los Angeles Chargers and have Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack devouring half the budget while the rest of the team plays for scraps. If you bring in Maxx Crosby's $35 million today, you are literally signing the eviction notice for Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, or even Brock Purdy himself tomorrow. The financial blanket does not have elasticity to cover two top-market defensive ends, a franchise quarterback, and the offensive stars that make Shanahan's system run. And let's look at the silent genius of the moves that actually happened. With the Brandon Ayuk saga ending tragically, with him injured, feuding with the team, and about to be released, the 49ers didn't cry over spilled milk. They used that same slice of salary cap pie to bring in Mike Evans. We're talking about a 196-centimeter target, a red zone monster, the guy with the longest streak of 1,000-yard seasons in league history, placing Evans opposite Deebo Samuel, with Christian Kirk working miracles in the slot and cutting across the middle of the field, gives Brock Purdy the most venomous and lethal arsenal he has had since becoming a starter. On defense, Bryce Huff's loss hurt. We cannot deny it. His natural talent for hunting the quarterback will be missed. But the acquisition of Osa Odigizwa is the kind of tactical move that wins championships in the trenches and doesn't make magazine covers. Osa is a defensive tackle who generates interior pressure directly in the face of the opposing quarterback. In the 49ers' four-man front scheme, interior pressure is what forces a quarterback out of the pocket and directly into the arms of the edge rushers. Not to mention Nate Hobbs, who arrives to plug the secondary holes that so punished us on long third downs in the past. It's a philosophy that a defense without obvious holes is much stronger than a defense with two massive stars and loose ends in coverage. And to conclude our corporate dissection, let's talk about our draft capital, or rather, our lack of draft capital. The article brilliantly reminds us that the San Francisco 49ers enter this upcoming college draft with only 6 total picks. We are not the Oklahoma City Thunder, the NBA, loaded with accumulated picks, and we are not the Chicago Bears swimming in rebuilding capital. Our ammunition stock is low. If the Las Vegas Raiders, even knowing about Maxx Crosby's damaged knee, were still asking for 2 first-round picks from the Ravens, how much do you think they would ask the 49ers for? Probably our 2026 first-rounder, our 2027 first-rounder, and another impact young player. Surrendering a third of our entire corporate future for a very expensive player, coming off a failed medical exam, when we need those cheap draft picks to surround Brock Purdy with cost-controlled talent for the next 5 years, will be grounds for John Lynch's immediate interdiction. The truth is naked, raw, and smells of corporate intelligence. The article hit the nail on the head in its conclusion, but we needed to hammer home the whys. The no to Maxx Crosby is not a lack of ambition. It is proof of the highest level of sustainable ambition. It's the difference between the fan who plays Madden NFL with the salary cap turned off and the executive who needs to ensure the team competes in the conference championship for the next 5 consecutive years. We chose to build a wall brick by brick with 7 vital players, instead of buying a single cracked gold ornament. That's it, Niner gang. Santa Clara's balance sheet has been audited. The fraud of Crosby's medical exam has been exposed, and our front office's planning passed a stress test with flying colors. The black and silver number 98 will remain in Nevada, or perhaps end up with some other franchise desperate enough to ignore medical reports. Meanwhile, we remain strong, balanced, and with a salary cap surgically operated to seek revenge next season. I'm going to grab a double-double animal style at In-N-Out Burger, but our war room monitor remains on and scanning market. Send the next sports gossip our way. Because the disinformation hunting season doesn't take vacations. What's the next lie we're going to crush? Send it to base.